Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video, we are looking at automatic data processing. This was a stock analysis request from one of the members, and I wanted to let you know that anyone can make these requests, and I try to cover as many as possible. Although with the ongoing demand, this is an unrealistic expectation, and I do have to prioritize the stocks, the assets that are in high demand, and the member requests when there is a video slot open. Now, on this chart, we actually have quite an interesting opportunity that seems to be coming up because we have started a more substantial correction here in the last year. And within this structure, it is possible to track an impulse, it is possible to track a diagonal pattern, but as long as we can, we will focus on the idea of an impulse because it seems like it actually has a good chance of developing it, and it would allow us to look for more clear patterns where invalidation would be more clearly defined. Now, within this structure, we are looking for a double 1-2-1-2 setup here to start off our larger pattern, and this would form our larger wave tree to the upside. Within this larger wave tree, it is possible to consider that the third wave, the internal wave tree, has formed a more substantial top within this area, and that we would be within a fifth wave at the moment. It's not necessary. I have to say it is still possible to look at even this as the actual wave tree itself, and we are getting quite a nice extension within it. But if it is to actually develop as the wave tree, it will have to work out as an impulse. Now, so far this hasn't been an issue, and it doesn't seem like it will be an issue, so we are going to allow this to potentially be a wave 5. So internally within this structure, we are focusing at the moment on an impulse within a 1-2 setup here, and a third wave that would form a more substantial top, possibly sooner rather than later. Now, within this structure, we have a couple of options, and I have to say, based on the overall proportions of the correction, I might prefer that the wave 3 of the larger wave 5 would have already formed the top, but based on the internal structure and the internal count, I might still be looking for an extension to higher prices. So for a main area of support where I cannot look for something lesser than an impulse as long as we hold it, we are watching the levels between the $182 all the way down to the $94 level. This is the ultimate area of support for the idea of a potential impulse forming within this structure. If we don't manage to hold the 50% retracement, I will not be able to still track such an idea of an impulse to form internally within this movement to the upside. Now, I would prefer, however, to look for potentially an extension within this structure where I believe we might still have room for a couple of additional 1-2-1-2 setups within this area, and to have then on the larger time frame a 4-5-4-5 pattern to build before we form a more substantial top within this area. And I want to say it's not necessary, but I would be interested in looking for such potential. And at the moment, we wouldn't have even reached this area of support as it stands right now if we were to consider a more substantial top within the wave tree in place. So I'm focusing on the internal structure within this wave tree. We won't leave on the chart the larger area of support at the moment because I want to focus on the potential extension, and we will have a closer area of support, not by much, but slightly closer to the current price levels. Now, before we move into the smaller time frame within this wave tree, I wanted to briefly mention our channel newsletter where you get access to our monthly top picks, stocks and assets that can provide you high quality structures where you can be looking for positions with levels of invalidation clearly defined. We will identify those for you, and you can follow them along with us on YouTube. Now, the link for sign up is in the description. It is completely free, but if you enjoy our content and you want to support us, you can check out our channel membership. The link for that is in the description as well, or you can click the join button and you will get access to additional content and stocks and assets that we cannot really post on the channel because they aren't necessarily the most sought after analysis, but they offer great value in my opinion. They offer great opportunities, and they do offer some quality structures, and some of them will be on our list that we have on our newsletter. Now, if you want to learn about all the details for the newsletter and the channel membership, you can check out our channel update video, and you can find it on the channel page, or you can click the join button and it will pop up in a window to explain the channel memberships. But for now, let's go back to the chart. And internally within this wave tree, we have, of course, an impulse that we are tracking, and I will remove the larger structure just to have more clarity within the internal movement in this area. So here I'm watching a potential 5-wave pattern complete in the larger wave tree. Yeah, we assume the larger wave tree, the upside we have been tracking here within this movement, yeah, this larger degree to be complete, and we are looking for the follow-up wave 4 correction. I might actually even move this out to keep it actually on the chart. And with it in place, I'm looking to reach the area of support between the $200 all the way down to the $114. This is not necessarily the ultimate area of support because, as I was saying, it is possible that this entire wave tree is actually complete and that we might be within a large wave 4 correction, because I can actually track this structure, yeah, as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. I don't actually need to have this as a series of 1, 2 setups, and I have to say it might work out even better, but I believe we may actually create a reversal from this region instead at the $200 level. Now, the other area of support is not far from this one. They do have strong overlap, but I believe this will allow you to look for a potential position to start your accumulation area a bit sooner, and it might come in useful because it's not guaranteed that we will get the larger correction, that we will even reach the large area of support based on the internal structure in this area. Now, of course, we will discuss the exact expectation in a moment, and the probabilities do suggest that we would extend a little bit lower, yeah, even deeper into the area of support, but it's not a guarantee. So within this structure, I'm looking at a potential ABC pattern to form a possible bottom within this larger wave 4 correction. Unfortunately, this movement to the downside is quite complex and multiple interpretations could work out just as fine. And the positive side is that within this wave to the downside, this latest extension, we will likely form a wave C in most interpretations. There is one corner case where this could be something like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, where the fifth wave could theoretically be complete without building an entire 5-wave pattern within this area. But I have to say, based on the internal count that seems to be forming here, I find it very, very unlikely to be building something along the lines of an ABC structure, simply due to how weak the wave A would need to be for this to be a valid structure. So we won't focus too much on the large time frame. Keep in mind, multiple interpretations are possible. I could consider this to be an ABC movement to the downside, in which case we could form a bottom within 1 or 2 additional lows that would be expected to take us into our area of support. And we will have to ultimately break relevant levels of resistance anyway for a signal that a more substantial bottom would be in place. I would also be watching here those structural support levels between the $205 all the way down to the $192. Yeah, we have several bottoms, several lows that have formed reversals within this area that can be useful in creating the slowdown that we actually need at the moment, as the momentum to the downside has actually even been increasing as of late. So within this structure, we are focusing on something like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, and I would need a stronger sign that this wave 3 would have formed a more substantial bottom, because at this point I do still see a strong potential for extensions to lower prices still. Now, we will be tracking this within a different color because it's one of the many interpretations this correction could be unfolding within, and if we were to consider this to be, let's say, an ABC structure, we could even draw here an ideal target for the wave C, which is the 100% extension of the wave A around the $208 level. Yeah, very much in line with our first level of support for the larger wave 4 correction. Now, again, this will be our interpretation within, let's say, the green scenario, and within this interpretation that I see here, within this structure, I would actually expect to exceed this target, because currently within this wave 3 to the downside, I would actually still prefer strongly at least one more low to have here a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Not necessary, but ideal in my opinion. Now, if we are to unfold this wave C as an ending diagonal, which is not to be ruled out, especially if we look here within a smaller time frame at the structures itself, we would be watching the 61.8% retracement as the last signal, the last level that would allow this pattern to actually unfold successfully. So that would be the $241 level. Although I would expect the proportions as well to play a role within this, because if we are to consider this to be an internal wave 4, to be this wave 4, we would actually consider that we have fulfilled enough of the expectations to have a top in place. We have a 3-wave pattern to the upside, quite clearly an ABC structure that doesn't need any additional extensions, and in terms of time frame expectations, it would be right there in the sweet spot for either this as a wave 2 or this as a wave 2. Now, I have to say, within this structure, I might even be looking at multiple areas to have formed like a 1, 2 setup here, a wave 3 down, wave 4 up, and a 5th wave to complete the structure. In this case, the area of resistance I would be focusing on would be much closer to our current levels, and we would have pushed perfectly into the first level of resistance for such an expectation. Honestly, I don't expect to push to higher prices within this internal wave 4 correction, and I would be looking for at least a wave 5 to complete this larger wave 3 before we start our larger wave 4 correction. Now, it's certainly a difficult area to be tracking, it's a difficult pattern, and I wouldn't go into an even smaller time frame. So for now, I believe it best to leave it at this and focus on the larger time frame, focus on the levels of resistance that would tell us where we would be within this movement to the downside. And again, a break beyond the $241 would be a strong signal that a more substantial bottom would be in place, at least within this wave to the downside, and we would have to reinterpret the larger time frame expectations, because within no scenario do I really see it likely to have a different area of support from a larger time frame perspective. We could theoretically be looking for this to be something like a 1-2 setup, but I actually don't find that a very likely interpretation. But for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and perhaps even check out our channel membership. But for now, this is it. Have a fun day, and bye bye.